Hello and welcome to the Beer Garden. This is your landscape industry podcast that lasts as long as it takes us to finish our beverage. We're going to dive right into it here and talk about what we're drinking. Brandon, what are you drinking? I don't know if you caught that just really quick. Like the reason I'm so out of breath for this intro is I made a beeline during that little video intro there to go get myself a drink. So anyways, what are you drinking?
Dude, your house is like 400 square feet. Hardly no stairs. It's a bungalow.
Well, I ran
8 steps to the kitchen.
I ran out of the door of my office to grab something specifically, only to realize that the thing I was after is actually in my globe bar behind me right here. So I ran past it and then ran back. Yeah.
Madman style. Globe bar. Yeah. Okay, so today I'm drinking a little gin and tonic.
Oh, wow. Okay. And the classy ice cube.
Look at the ice cube there. You don't want to get cross-threaded on your ice cubes. You want to get that part right. These ice cubes, highly recommend the kind of ice cube maker I got it from Amazon, but it's like the big square box. It's the silicone things that you see around, but it's in an insulated square box. It's like $60 or $70, I think, Canadian dollars. So like $40 or $20, whatever American.
Some kind of millionaire?
It makes really good, clear ice cubes. No, there's certain things I like. Okay.
Okay.
And the gin is made by Burwood Distillery, Burwood, Calgary. And it's this kind, Spiced Apple Winter Festival, small batch gin.
Oh, you are a
And it kind of changes color. Oh, yeah. It even says, read that. Can you read that? Color.
No.
Color changing. And see that color? That's how you spell color, with a U.
Now, I was just going to say that says color changing.
Color changing. Yeah. So that's what I'm having. I don't normally work in my garage with a bottle of liquor sitting next to me, but I knew you were going to ask what I was drinking. So I brought it out here to show you.
I'm sure that is the case.
I thought up that excuse as well on the way.
Yeah. I wish if only people could see what's happening behind the scenes here, but I'll just explain it here in a minute. So today I'm going to be drinking.
There's a camera.
I had a Station 26 Juicy Banger here to drink, but I saw you walk in with a bottle, which is why I sprinted during our video intro to go get something else, which is something that you actually were kind enough to bring to me. And this is Shelter Point Classic Single Malt Canadian whiskey that you actually...
Is that the maple syrup one I brought?
No.
I brought that to JB's house. Man, that tasted terrible. It was like so sweet. It was like a gift for his parents because I stayed at their place. And man, it was not good at all. Sorry, JB's parents.
No, this one's quite good. You and Michelle brought this. I very much appreciate it. And so I saw you walk in with a bottle, and I thought I would up my game a little bit. From no shade on the Juicy Banger. I might have this after I have a little sip off this single malt. But the part that I was saying that
it is a Wednesday.
Yeah, after all. The part that I was saying, if you could only see the behind the scenes here, is I realized as I was introducing this that I didn't have a glass to drink this, and I didn't want to just drink it out of the bottle. But then I realized I had this glass sitting on my desk that was storing all of the hardware to my doors, which I've taken.
Oh, that's disgusting, dude. You're just going to drink out of that?
Yeah, it's fine. I wiped it off. It's fine.
You're going to get stainless steel poisoning or something or whatever.
It's fine.
All right. We're from the generation that drank out of the garden hose, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. I don't have a fancy ice cube handy. I don't want to make another run to the freezer because that would be very unprofessional in this totally buttoned up podcast that we have here. So
let me sorry, go ahead. Cheers me.
Cheers.
Okay. Damn, that's good. Okay. I thought I would first tell you what we're talking about today.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask you a thought-provoking question.
Wow. All right. When you cue it
So
up like that.
today we'll be talking about strategies for hiring in a competitive market. And I think both of us have some valuable things on that. I have done it wrong for a long time, and the team and I came up with some things that work very, very well. So have a lot of things to talk about. We'll talk about the role of company culture, some actual tactical recruitment strategies, thinking about what we call the skills gap, actual like hiring process stuff, and so on. So it's going to be a good episode. My question for you is, what skill would you attain or improve on to improve yourself the most in your industry?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, I'm going to ask some clarifying questions. So, what skill, first of all, would I attain, me personally, to like be better in my industry?
Yeah, and I'll just say, I'll add, like propel you towards your goals. So that could be
Okay,
financial improvement,
but
you
you're
know.
asking me as an owner of a landscape company specifically.
Yeah.
Okay, not like put myself in the perspective of a as a like
Choose the
employee.
company. Issue ID, ACA,
Yeah, yeah.
TDG.
I was just being clear. You're not asking me to like put myself in the position of like an employee going to a job
No,
interview
no,
with a
no.
okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. It would be just like the ability to surround myself with good people. Like the ability to like attract and and well yeah, just really attract like high performers. Like I
What is
just
that skill? Like attractiveness?
yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty good on that side of things already, but I would say,
Like
like,
what is the skill? Like the tangible skill? It could be, um, you know, like leadership related skills. It could be
mm,
finance related skills. Could be, I don't know.
no, I think it would be, that's a good question. I think the skill itself would be like is recruiting a skill? Like it's something in that. It's like
Absolutely.
it's yeah, I
Or
think
like
it's
the ability to connect with people and like persuade them to your way of thinking. Like I'm
that,
thinking How to Win Friends and Influence People. That
yeah.
excellent book.
Yeah, it's something in that arena, like something around like recruiting, networking.
Communication could be
Um
communication skills.
Yeah,
You know.
that probably should be higher on the list
Mhm.
considering what a difficult time I'm having answering this question. Um, I would
Okay.
yeah, I would put it there. Like something just the skill set around like attracting good people. So it's like I
Okay.
think that it's probably like recruiting, like that sort of thing. Yeah.
Solid team. Okay. Let me. Here's the thought provoking part. So
Oh, that wasn't it.
I was setting you up. I was setting you up.
Oh, go
Um,
figure.
okay. So I was watching some YouTube the other day or something. I don't know, some video, and the lesson was thinking more of what is a rare and complementary skill that would that you could attain to improve you in your industry or in whatever you like. So say say like take Gary Vaynerchuk for
Hmm.
example. He has a marketing firm, right? Media
Hmm.
marketing firm, probably both.
Both.
Okay, so imagine who he would be. Like the fact that we know his name is because he has the skill to build an audience, right?
Hmm.
So there's many people that own marketing firms, but he has added a skill, and it's a rare skill. Like there's many people that have marketing firms that don't have large followings or large audiences that they've built, but he's added this rare and complementary skill to make him extremely successful. So in, let's say in your landscaping business, I don't know what it is or if we can come up with it in this moment, but thinking outside of the box a little bit. Like, we think of all of the skills to be a really solid business owner and a really solid CEO. You want to get on the forefront of technology, and you want to learn all about your industry and that kind of thing. But maybe building an audience, like through TV, for example, or some other rare and complementary skill. Like, you could get a law degree or something, right? And now, when some huge company or something needs a guy that knows the landscape industry and is a lawyer, you're like the only guy. For a stupid example, or not a stupid, but just
you're the go-to for like expert witness for slip and fall incidents.
Sure, yeah, and now your career is totally shifted. Yeah. So anyway, it's just been rattling around in my head the last few days. I haven't really come up with much, but I thought it was a really interesting thought experiment. Is like, outside of what we normally always talk about, what is a rare and complementary skill that could propel you way past your competitors and put you at the top of your market? The guy giving the talk was also a marketing guy. He's like the UK version of Gary Vaynerchuk or something. And he said that there was a survey not put out by him, but a survey put out, like, who is the best entrepreneur is what it was. Who's the best entrepreneur you can think of? This survey was put out to the public, something like that. And his name was at the top. And he's like, by all metrics, I am not the best entrepreneur. I don't own the biggest businesses, the most successful businesses. Like, there's no metric that would say that. The only reason I'm put up there is because people know who I am through building an audience. And so now the public perceives him as this because he's just a name that they could think of. So right. I just thought it was really interesting.
The building an audience one is a strong answer. It's kind of in the vein of what I was trying to say of like attracting people toward your like ecosphere. I think that's a strong, complementary skill. And if you ever listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, like, that's his whole thing, right? Like, building your personal brand, building awareness around what it is that you're doing and you're passionate about. So I think that's a good one. Do you have one that you could think of that's like your kind of complementary skill?
No.
So it's just about putting me on the spot.
It's just about you, yeah.
Okay.
The audience one is maybe obvious, and that's getting less rare also.
Yeah,
everybody's got a friggin' one of these damn podcasts nowadays. But I think it's an interesting thought experiment, and I challenge the audience to think about that in your own lives and let us know what it is. Maybe it'll inspire me.
I like that. That's good. Wow.
Yeah. Should we get into our episode? We're 15 minutes into the dang show now.
Let's talk a bit about hiring.
Yeah. So where do we start here? We've got a few notes. You want to start with the first segment?
Yeah, like I just want to like kind of outline a bit like the current market. We're all aware of where we're sitting, but I think
and it's a top problem. Everybody, even like the companies that are the best at it, this is a huge challenge is recruiting.
Totally. And we just talked about this in the previous episode, actually, about like just the or in a previous episode about like there's a lot of things like threats, concerns, like that like threats, weaknesses, etc., that you need to prepare your business for, right? And oftentimes I think you did a good job of pointing out like a lot of people list these little things like the example you gave was like fuel prices, and you're like, how much does fuel actually eat up of your budget, like as a percentage of revenue? Well, this is the opposite of that. Like, labor eats up a massive part of your budget, and so finding the right labor is key, and that is consistently getting more and more challenging. And so I don't want to like belabor this point too much, but I think I just hear things getting thrown around a lot that I just think isn't supported by data. Like, it's easy to just like write it off as a cop out. And the reason I want to highlight this point is I think when you write it off as like, oh, well, millennials just don't want to work is the classic thing, or whatever generation we're in now, Gen Z. What the hell's the generation that's coming up now?
It's into like Gen Beta or something now.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. That's kind of, that's kind of the point, though, is like everyone's been saying this forever. People said it about your generation, the generation before them said that about the generation before that. Like everyone said that forever. It's like, oh, this generation just doesn't want to work. They don't have the same work ethic. They don't have this, that, or the other. And while there might be certain things that are like, splinters of truth in that about like, the type of work people want to do is changing and those sorts of things. I think it's important to actually like not just use that as a cop out for not taking action, I guess is my main point. I feel like that's most often thrown around when it's just like, oh, there's no solution to it. So, I don't suck at hiring. It's just that this generation is bad.
Well, and
so
it's still your problem. So
exactly.
is that the end of your problem solving exercise?
Exactly.
Well, we're screwed. Okay, go to work tomorrow.
Yeah. And there's a lot more factors like actual data that show like what's actually happening. And I do think it's important to understand that at a high level. You don't have to dive super deep into all this, but like just there's like some data that I've pulled here from a few different resources. And this is
Okay.
kind of specific to the United States. But in the United States, this was as of I think start of last year in 2024, we had 8.8 million job openings and 6.4 million unemployed workers. Like that's the problem right there. Like it's just the fact that we have more job openings than we do workers. A lot of those job openings came from things like new businesses starting. A lot entrepreneurship is like much more like prominent now, right? So there's people starting new businesses, more jobs being created, lots of things like that. And then we also just came off the back of a global pandemic, right? So 66% of Americans who lost their job during the pandemic say they're not active in searching for a new job. And that's again for a number of reasons.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like
There's just
40
so much money being given away. It's like I have no data to back this up, but it feels like it's like the easiest time to make money, frankly, and simultaneously the easiest time to do nothing.
Yeah,
like
totally.
You can get paid by the government, and it's also for better or worse, it's like people are living with their parents longer because it's like kind of more like normalized, and now real estate's crazy expensive and all those things. But it's just like I don't know what it is. It's just people don't seem as motivated, or they go to school and then they can't get the job in their field, so then they just don't work and they just wait for a really long time to get the engineering job or whatever instead of cutting grass, right?
I think
there
that's
just
part
seems
of
to be
it.
a lot of that.
That's certainly part of it, but there's also other factors in play there. Like a lot of those people, when we entered the pandemic, were like maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 years off from retirement. So they just retired early. Like that's a big one.
Okay, sure.
17% of the people in that like that survey like just retired. 19% transition to homemaker. So like, they had more time at home. They're like taking care of the family, all that sort of stuff. They figured out a different solution to where like they don't need to work. They're going to take care of their family. Like they just reprioritized, right?
Right.
So that's part of it. And then a big one I think that we're seeing a lot of is just like the type of work people are doing. People were forced to sit at home and like figure out how to make money from home. And then a lot of them
And
did
they
that.
had the time to figure it out now too.
Yeah. Like
Right. Oh, that's a
think
good
of
one.
like they did that. They figured out how to make money from working from home, and now they're like, well, why would I go back to that job like where I have to go in? And so like 49% of the people who lost their jobs and were surveyed in the survey were just not willing to take jobs that don't offer remote work. Like they were like, yeah, it's like I either figured something out and I'm doing it on my own now. That's the entrepreneurial side of it, right? Or just like I found another job that's remote and I'm going to do that, or I'm just not willing to take another job unless it is remote. So there's that.
What's interesting about remote work is that you can do that for companies outside of the US or Canada too. So
Right.
maybe you were forced to find a job to work from home and make some money, and now you work for a company out of your country, right?
Yep.
So it drives up unemployment rates in the States, or job openings anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yep.
I hadn't thought of that one before.
So that was a big one. The other, just two I'll touch on really quick, is like, so this is kind of different. This is kind of specific to the United States because I know it's a bit different in Canada, but the net international migration to the US is at its lowest actually in decades. And that's one that, like, if you watch the news at all, is going to continue to decrease and decrease and decrease. So, we're not, I'm not going to get political on this. I'm not going to talk about like all this sort of stuff, but like, people do immigrate to the United States, many legally, and get jobs, and that is decreasing. Like the amount of
Right.
people that are doing that is decreasing. There's no way around that, and it's going to continue to decrease in the coming years. That is part of the labor pool, like it or not. That's part of the labor pool, and so
Right.
like that's decreasing. The other thing is just like to be like we've been spoiled. Like there's no way around it. Like the economy was very frothy for quite a while there. So a lot of people built up really good savings. That's how people are retiring early. That's how people are like aging out. And, some who are younger, maybe they're not retiring, but like they're taking a hiatus for a while. They don't feel the need to go back because they were able to save up some money. Maybe they sold a business. Maybe they did whatever, right? Like they don't have the need to be in the labor market now. So they're not part of that pool that you have to select from. So I just think it's important to like see those things. And there's a lot more that we could get into, but like, those things are all real and mostly out of your control. So like,
Right.
what are you doing to adapt to those things? They're real things. Now let's get into
Sure.
like what you're doing to adapt. That's all the
Sure.
point I wanted.
Yeah, that was good. Good. Some good data in there, and it's yeah, very interesting about how things are going in the remote work. We just Michelle and I just finished, as you know, a trip in El Salvador, and the country's changing drastically, like safety wise in particular. Their crime is way down, and you're starting to see a lot of people immigrate there, and they're remote workers. And it's like, oh, I can work for an American company. Sorry about all the sirens.
I
There's
love that you were talking about the crime being done in El Salvador.
I know,
And
it's like
meanwhile, in
that was an
Canada,
ambulance. That was an ambulance.
okay,
They're saving
fine.
somebody,
Yeah, who was
potentially
stabbed.
from a crime. No, you're thinking of Edmonton. We
Oh,
don't.
right. That's
Edmonton is the
Winnipeg.
Stabmonton. No, we just have beavers and moose up here.
Right.
Anyway, I'm just going to move on because I forgot what I was talking about. So, one of the most important things, and everybody talks about this, very few take it serious maybe, is the role of company culture and understanding what company culture is and means, because it is kind of a a bit of a fluffy topic, and like tactically what you can do and so on. So company culture to me is just what it feels like to be at work. It's like who the people are at the job, who the people are that you're paired up with for work, how your superiors talk to you at work. Does the company do what they say they're going to do? Do they cast a vision or not, for you to grow with the company?
Is
These
there
types of
alignment
things.
with that
Yeah,
vision?
is there alignment?
That's a
Like,
big piece of that.
yeah, like is the owner of the company saying one thing and then your supervisor is like, ignore that crap, that's just whatever, get to work, right?
Right.
And of course, you've heard before, like people quit typically their immediate supervisor, not because their pay or whatever. So I think often people think of culture, or they want to boost their culture, like by getting a Keurig or something in the in the shop or in the coffee room, or getting some perks, and that's all those things are, is perks. So I mean, if you're a jerk and you're like a terrible CEO, and you've built a company full of jerks, your culture is still bad, even if you have a ping pong table in the lunchroom, right? And like you should still do those cool things. Those sound great, but that's just not what you can't like buy your way into company culture necessarily. And then I think that you were talking about millennials and whatever the younger generations of us are called. Jason and I are both millennials, elder millennials, I think,
Yeah.
which is like cringe, as the lower generations would say, the Gen Zs, to say. But I think that that's one of the most important things. It's not like a lot of people are looking for great people to work with, and they want to be involved and help you build your business. We're speaking, I assume a lot of the listeners are like small businesses and medium-sized businesses where the owner knows the employees. And that's people will work extremely hard alongside you and with you. You know, if you're a good leader and you cast a strong vision and they're excited to help build something cool, you know, that's it, I think. It's not like that complicated. Yeah.
And I think for me, the key thing about culture is like, I think a lot of times when people hear the word culture and like talk about building a company culture, they often think that like, it does feel very frou-frou. It's like, well, that means that we're all friends and we're a family, and this is like we're gonna hold hands and we're gonna do all that. Like maybe that's what your culture is, but like a culture is unique to every bit. Like every culture is different and unique. Think about going to India and learning about their culture comparatively to like the Western like culture. Like those are very different cultures and unique in their own way, and it's very much the same and probably even like vastly like wildly like wild differences from company to company on this. So like it's okay to have a culture that is just around like accountability and performance, and like we're gonna like that is if that's the type of people that you want to attract. It's like we're gonna like hold each other accountable, we're gonna overperform, we're gonna be competitive with each other. Like that is a culture. It's not
Yeah.
every company's culture, but that is a culture. And so the key is like painting that vision of like where the company is going, but also like what the company is and who the company is, and then making sure that you're bringing in the people that match that. Like don't someone who like is much more like all about hanging out around the ping pong table is probably not the best for that company that's like, no, we're about like competing on a day-to-day basis and like really like maximizing our performance against the others. Maybe they are, but like
An
they
example I was just thinking of is that what's that food place, fast food place, Illegal Pete's. Illegal Pete's in Denver. Are they outside of Denver? I know there's a bunch of locations there, but
started in Denver, but they've got spots in Arizona now. They've got spots in a few different places. Yeah.
so like I'm from Calgary, many hours away, and I've been to like probably three locations or something. They are all the same culture.
Yeah.
They attract and hire like artists and like music industry people, and they seem to like prop that up, and it's a very cool environment and a very cool culture, and great food too. But you can just feel it in that place that it's like these people enjoy working with each other. They're like joking around and stuff. They have similar interests. They're kind of like-minded. And you can imagine other businesses like that too. Like Starbucks is a little bit like that. Like they clearly have a different feel when you're ordering a coffee at Starbucks than you do at like McDonald's or something, or like Tim Hortons in Canada. So like that's kind of culture, and it's consistent. They clearly have a strong vision. They clearly hire by it. And whether the employees at those places enjoy those places, I don't know. But you know, that's what company culture is, I think, ultimately.
Yeah. That's a good point for sure.
Okay, should we tell everybody how to hire people and do it well?
Sure.
Recruitment strategies. Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple things here. I think when you're recruiting, one of the most important things to do is cast a vision about the company and where it's going. Whether it's a laborer or a new ops manager, it doesn't matter, right? You want to talk about the business because, you know, laborer could be your future ops manager. So you want to talk about the business and where it's going. And as the owner, CEO, that vision better be cast across your business so the same messaging comes from everyone. As far as strategies go, you know, I think like for medium-sized businesses, one tactical thing that we started doing was the hiring barbecues, we call them. So it's kind of like a little call it like a hiring fair, but it's only one company there, so it's not much of a fair. And it's, you know, we'll run it on a Saturday, kind of 11 to 2, 11 to 3, something like that. Barbecue in our yard. And we make it as, like, the key to it is making it as low obligation feeling as we possibly can. So it's like, hey, just show up anytime between this time. There's no appointments. Like, you can think of this compared to a normal interview. These are crew leaders, laborers, equipment operators that are often not really comfortable sitting in a boardroom, right? It's like, right. I don't want to go in the damn office and sit in a boardroom and listen to these stingy office people, you know? And so it's like, just come into the yard, come see our equipment, come walk around and just meet our managers, meet our crew leaders, some of our staff, see our equipment, see our shop, and like check out our operation. And, you know, on the other side, our managers are there and they're writing down names and they're like putting yeses and nos and comments by people. And then we'll follow up with them. So we'll do that a few times a year. And, you know, if you need to hire, like, it doesn't matter how many people, but say you need to hire 20 people going into a season, you can process through a couple hundred, you know, in an afternoon and get some really good names. And that's a really good initial filter. And you'll get people from other companies, like other landscape companies in town, because it's a big obligation to take in, and it's like almost somewhat of a commitment to take in like an interview appointment. Like to say, I'm interviewing at another company is different than saying, I'm going to go have a burger at this landscape company's yard when I'm doing my errands on Saturday. So you'll get people wearing other companies' shirts coming by and all kinds of stuff. And then you kind of get the conversation started. You start tracking them all in your applicant tracking system, spreadsheet or otherwise, tracking all these names. And that strategy's worked really well for kind of like bulk hiring, especially at field level roles.
Yeah, you mentioned it there toward the end, but a key part of that is like it's like, yeah, come check out the yard, come be in a like very casual environment, but also like just come enjoy some free food, maybe a beer, depending on your like culture and like whether or not you want to offer that.
We were doing that, and then we had one guy that ruined it for everybody. Typical. He came. It was funny. We didn't hire him, and he came to like 3 hiring barbecues because he knew we had free beer. So this guy kept showing up, and then I remember I'm standing there, and he's like loading his pockets up like he was leaving out of the cooler. He was just stuffing beers in his pockets, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take a couple for the road." You know, it took like half a dozen beer with him on the bus home or something. Wow. So anyway, no more beers.
Yeah. I think that's a great strategy though. And something, honestly, we haven't done a ton of, we haven't done the big like hiring barbecues, but I can tell you, we just finished our annual planning at the landscape company and we have a big hiring event / barbecue coming up in like February, late February. So cool. Going into our spring season, and we'll be doing a few of them this year. I would also just say, like, you kind of mentioned this, but the previous section we were talking about culture, the reason that's so important is you'll hear a term thrown around a lot, which is employer brand, right? It's just like your brand that you're presenting to, like, you spend a lot of time on your brand and your sales pitch and all those sorts of things for customers who are going to pay you. But like, you should be spending the same amount of time and investment on your brand and your pitch and those sorts of things for the people that are going to work with you. Like, again, you're trying to attract the right people, same way you're trying to attract the right clients. So that culture, the reason we talked about that first is it's a big part of that employer brand. And the barbecue is a great example because it does a great job as a strategy of just communicating like who you are. as a brand and an employer brand. Like there's nothing better to communicate that than the people who work with you. So having your staff there, having them meeting the potential candidates, getting some FaceTime, those sorts of things, is a great way to do that. Another one kind of along the same vein is like leveraging the people that you have, which is just like referrals, like having your team reach out to anyone and everyone in their network. Um, Generally, kind of best practice, and this is one that BTA always preaches actually, which is like just have them like reach out to everyone they know or like anyone they know who they think might be a good fit. But like it's not like, hey, do you want to come work for my company? It's like, hey, my company is hiring. Here's the role or roles that we have available. I thought you might know some people who would be a potentially good fit for this. Like you're thinking like that person's a good fit, but like you don't have to hit them with like, hey, come work for my company. Just like, do you know anyone? And oftentimes they're going to think like, well, yeah, I fit the bill. But in
Right.
order to do that, you have to have that really good, like ideal candidate, who you're looking for, what the culture is, all that sort of laid out. So that when they're
Yeah.
passing that, when you're passing, your staff's passing that along to their network, then it's very easy for that person to be like, oh yeah, that's me. Or like, I know 3 people who that might be. So,
Yeah, so we did that, maybe a bit of a spin on it, but we'll ask our people to post it on their social media things. So, and we pay them like $20 for every post. And to make it really easy for them and to make sure they don't miss any details and things like that, we'll just include the message we want them to post. So it'll be like, here's the details, my company, LBN, yada, 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 is hiring these roles. Here's the details. Here's the link if anyone is interested. And then, you get $20 for everything we posted on. So Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And it's generated some reasonably good results because there is some people that, you're flipping through your contacts and you haven't talked to that crew leader for 5 years and you don't really want to reach out to them, but maybe they'll still see it on your feed. So that works really well for field level roles. I could see what you're saying for that, but also particularly good for management level roles or supervisory level roles.
Yeah. You also mentioned there like $20 per like place that you posted, that sort of thing. That's something that's worked really well for us, is just establishing a referral bonus, just like we would for a client or anything else, a referral bonus for whoever brings that candidate in that we end up staying with. And like, don't be stingy about this. Again, like labor is your highest expense. You're looking for the best possible people. Like you should be spending on this. So one that we found really effective, this came through a recommendation, actually. I think it was someone at BTA. We offer like an upfront bonus where it's like if you refer someone and we end up hiring that person, doesn't matter if you're an employee, by the way, or like we give little cards out with these details to like vendors that we work with, to like basically anyone and everyone. If we hire someone that you referred, then you're going to get an immediate bonus. I think it's like $250 or something like that. But then we do a monthly bonus for as long as that person stays employed with us. For internal staff, that's primarily where we've done that bonus. We haven't necessarily done the continuing bonus for like vendors and stuff like that. But for internal staff, it's been basically for as long as that person's still employed with us, and as long as you're still employed with us, you're going to get an additional $50 per month for as long as that lasts. So it's easy money, right? Like they're getting $50 a month. If they just
We used to do that and it got so expensive. It was probably still good, but I swear we had a guy making, 500 plus a month, which is arguably stupid to shut it down because it's like the guy was just a great resource. And I don't know, you can't do everything right. I don't know if we made the right decision shutting that part down, but now we just do a thing where it's, a few $100 when the person is hired and a few $100 when after 3 months or 6 months or something like that.
Right. I could see that. It does get expensive, but it's like, what is that employee worth? Or in that case, like employees that person brought in, like that's pretty valuable. Like $50 a month seems like
I think our other managers were getting jealous. The supervisor guy or the crew leader guy was starting to encroach on their pay scale. Which
Good
I'm
for
not
him.
sure. Absolutely. Jason, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, other Jason, not you. Obviously, you're watching this. I know more than one of you. Okay.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
so
Any other
now
like
you're
killer strategies that are not often heard or said?
No, I mean, there's been some interesting ones. Like you actually told me one, which was just like, this is more specific to like people who are looking like seasonal roles and that sort of stuff, seasonal or casuals or whatever it may be. But you mentioned um, like hostels, I think is one that you brought up to me a while ago about like just kind of like,
That's really good for like casual
yeah,
workers or like influx of say you get like a huge snow day or something, and you need a bunch of labor to get out there. Hostels are pretty good.
yeah.
There's people in town that often want to make some money for the day, and yeah,
I
we
think
don't
it's
use that very
just,
much anymore.
I think it's just like go to where your ideal employee hangs out. Like for me, for many years, what we did is like I saw a niche because I lived it where like I went after musicians, kind of like the illegal Pete's thing. Like I'm a musician. I know a lot of musicians. Like we used to really scale up in the summer and scale back in the winter. So I really just needed like people for like a certain amount of months. And I knew a lot of musicians who were like touring part of the year and not touring the rest of the year. So I went after a lot of musicians, and that was just like I knew that they kind of fit our culture. It was they would all get along with the people that we had working, and so I went after them. But and then it was easy because I could rely on my internal network. I could post on Facebook groups where other musicians hung out. I just knew the type of person I was going after, so it was easy to find them.
Yeah, awesome. Those must have all been really good workers, hey? The musician group.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay, no shade.
We still have
Sorry,
a
musicians.
still have a couple of them with us actually.
Nice. Josh, is he a musician?
No, Eric
Oh.
though.
Cool.
Eric was in a band that I played with for many years. Jonathan, you know Jonathan. He's your business partner, musician.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard of him. Cool. So let's move on, Jason, to this one. So there's one thing in our industry is like, especially at the in field level roles, there's a lot of it that is there's a lot of it's like an entry level job for a lot of people, or it's a new industry for a lot of people. It's like a first job sometimes, or they're switching and kind of starting from the bottom. And there's a big lack of education and skills at many of our competitors. So you can really take advantage of having a great training program or offering educational incentives, these kind of things. One of the things I think that we do quite well, well, I'll list two actually. One is a standardized pay structure. So in an interview, in a first interview, whether you're right out of high school, laborer, or you're a crew leader or whatever it may be, we can put down a piece of paper on the table and say, here's the skills required to make this pay. So we can determine your pay right in the interview oftentimes. And it's interesting because it becomes a discussion. So it's like a pay scale, you check these boxes. You've got, you're gonna be a crew leader, so you've got a driver's license and you can operate these pieces of equipment, perform these services, you have these skills, etc. So that means you're $24 an hour or whatever it is, right? And what's really interesting in the interview process is we'll explain that, we'll look at the thing together, and then I'll ask the interviewee, I'll say, so where do you feel you fit on the chart now that we've discussed this? And they'll often negotiate against themselves. like they'll often say, or they're just being honest, right? Because they see that there's a standardized thing that they have to live up to, rather than just saying, well, I'd expect $26 an hour. They look and say, well, I think I fit this one, and I can clearly see what I need to do to get to this one. So it's a really powerful thing. And it helps even more on the other side, where all your employees understand the system, why they're paid what they're paid, and what they need to do to move up in that process. The other thing that we do is we have a scholarship program. We call it a scholarship, like LBN scholarship program, and it's just I think it's like a couple grand a year that we'll offer to take courses or outside education. It has to be approved. Like, you can't go learn how to, build video games or something. It has to be related to the industry and your job. And maybe that is there is a lawn care simulator. But that is really helpful, and that's a really helpful tool to use in recruiting as well. So I would put something like that in place, and not everybody even uses it. So like, the cost isn't $2,000 times all your employees. It's just, growth-minded individuals that want to take advantage of that. So those couple of things are really strong.
I would add to your bit that you shared about the standardized pay structure, and like one of the things that's really good about that, we call it an employment roadmap, is it's like you were saying, like, they can see very clearly what's required to get to the next level and move up that ladder. And for us, one of our core values is everyday improvement, as well as a second one, which is elevate the team. And so we lean into that. Like, the everyday improvement part is like, you're going to lean into like getting to the next level. Like, we search for employees who aren't going to be happy just sitting at the level that they came in with. They're going to like move up the ladder. They're excited for that. But the elevate the team part is like, we incentivize their managers so every manager, whether I say manager, it could be a crew lead, anyone who has direct reports, we incentivize them based off of the people who work technically underneath them on the org structure for advancing up the skill ladder. So like, if I'm a crew leader and I work with a technician who goes from a tech level 1 to a tech level 2 because they get their skill certifications and they move up, well, tech level 2 is going to make more money by moving up to tech level 2, and the crew lead's going to get a little bonus because someone who worked underneath him moved up. And so it's their job to like help those employees move up the ladder, so that everyone's invested in it. Like, they're all gonna, like, people are looking out for themselves, but now you're like paying them to look out for others and like help them all advance.
And that's something that really feeds back into the culture. Like, now you have a culture of learning and improvement, and I assume people are quite bought into it, and they make more money because of it. And it's pretty cool. You generally don't make more money in your business by trying to just pay people as little as possible,
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's might seem like an obvious cost to cut. But it's interesting when you look at it that way and you tie it to development, because you can get 20 or 30% more out of an employee, and they're happy developing their skill set and helping to build the company. And you don't necessarily have to just pay them 30% more than everybody else, because you just end up with wages all over the place, and you don't know why this guy makes $25 an hour and that lady makes 23, and
totally
whatever. It just gets really messy. So especially as you get slightly bigger. One more thing on recruiting I wanted to touch on quick is, I think that people have limiting beliefs on hiring pools sometimes. So what I mean by that is, if you are, maybe this is a problem with Illegal Pete's, I don't know, but if you're only trying to hire musicians, like, your hiring pool is kind of small.
Yeah.
If that's a requirement. I doubt it's like an actual requirement, just an example. So if you think in your mind that, like, people that drive GMC trucks are just losers, and you'll never hire anybody that pulls up in a GMC, you've just narrowed your hiring down by like probably 40% or something, right?
Right.
And you can think of other examples that are more terrible, and the way that people might think, right? And if you open your mind up a little bit, it's also opening the hiring pool up a lot, right? Yeah. So I think it's a really important point, and I've seen that, and people don't even know they're doing it. They just limit themselves to a certain type of person, and then you're just making you're like playing the game of business on hard mode.
Yeah.
You know, so that's
My
really important.
key takeaway from that is that you think 40% of people drive GMC trucks.
How many is it? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it's 40%.
All right. Well, maybe not Denver.
All right.
A lot of Priuses
All right.
down there. Oh, it's
Yeah,
Subarus. Subarus and
Forerunners.
Forerunners. It's probably
Yeah.
60% Forerunners down there.
Yeah, it is. Vehicle of champions. All right. Hiring process. Let's get into like the actual hiring process itself. This is something I know that you do really well. We've really worked hard on improving this over the years. And that is just like, first of all, having a consistent hiring process. Like, we all know what it was like in the early days, and maybe you're there right now where it's just like, we need someone hired. I need them for this role. Like, I'm just going to write up a job posting willy-nilly and get it out there. And then like, I'm going to look through the resumes and maybe call a couple and try and get someone. Like, if you have a pulse, you have a job, sort of thing. But like, I think if you're going to grow and you're going to scale, it's really important to have a streamlined hiring process the same way you have a streamlined sales process. So like, you got to identify the steps of the hiring process. It probably is different for different roles. Like, I can tell you, we do a lot more interviews for like a management level role than we do for a field level role. But at any given time, if we need to hire someone for every position in our company, we don't need to write a job posting. They're all written already. We already have the job posting. Just make it live, get it to go. We already have the ideal candidate profile built. So like, this is the type of individual that we're looking for this role. So that whoever's doing the hiring knows exactly the type of person we're looking for. It even outlines like what to look for in their resumes, like those sorts of things to advance them to the next level. And then the steps of the process. For some, you're probably doing a conversion call, 5-minute, 10-minute call where you're calling and just kind of checking the initial boxes, then setting them up with an interview, or just getting them to a hiring barbecue, for example, whatever those things are. But you have a process, a systemized process that you can follow every single time, with the goal of it being like a funnel, the same way like a sales funnel. You start with a bunch of people coming in at the top, and then you're narrowing it down as you get to the bottom so that you just get the ideal people who funnel out at the bottom. So there's a lot that can be done with like automation with this. There's tons of stuff that you can do to help automate that. Even just follow-ups, like it's exact same. Go back and listen to any of our podcasts about sales. It's exact same rules. Like speed to lead is critical. This person's looking for a job. They're submitting their resume. They probably submitted it to 20 people today. Like, get back to them faster than anyone else got back to them. If they're an ideal candidate, their resume indicates they might be an ideal candidate, get them on the phone immediately. Like, that is critical. So like, all those same tactics apply here that you typically use in like marketing and sales. It's the exact same thing. Yeah, we use HubSpot to track our process, the same as we would our sales process. But I mean, literally just like Indeed has a lot of this stuff built in. You could do it on a whiteboard. I don't care what it is, just know what your process is and like have a consistent
probably a spreadsheet, maybe a whiteboard, but probably a spreadsheet.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. But like, the point is just have a consistent process. We even have like now narrowed down, like as part of our process, like our interview process is always the same. If we're interviewing for like a CSR or customer service rep, like, we know from our ideal candidate profile that they have different qualities that we're looking for that are different than like a crew lead or a technician. For a CSR, they have to come across like very professional. They have to be able to like appear very knowledgeable in the thing they're talking about, even if they're not. So like, those are qualities that we're looking for. So like, I'll give you an example. Like, we're asking questions in the interview that just hone in on those skills. We're trying to figure out, like, in a 30-minute interview, does this candidate have these qualities? So many of our, actually all of our customer service reps are overseas. So we have a couple in the Philippines, one in El Salvador, actually. And we, our interview process for them, we ask them, like, we know that they need to be able to explain things that it makes it like you can understand it very well. and that they can come across as like having confidence and being very knowledgeable in something. So one of our questions is literally just like, tell me how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And what's funny about that is the first couple times we asked that, I didn't realize like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are not really a thing in the
That's very
Philippines.
American, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so, like, but what was cool is
Oh,
like
you're so close-minded.
the
You had to,
the best candidates still figured it out. Like some of them clearly
well,
were
it's
like,
pretty obvious. It's peanut butter jelly.
no,
Okay.
it's not. Some of them
Oh,
were like clearly Googling as they were explaining it to us. But that's what I need in a CSR. I need someone who can on the fly think and figure it out. But they were
sure, sure.
literally telling us like, okay, well, first you're gonna get peanuts, and then you're gonna crush the peanuts up, and you're and like,
Add it to some butter.
yeah, exactly.
That's funny.
But like they conveyed it in a way that like I was following every step. I totally got it, and I had confidence that they knew what they were talking about. So
Cool.
yeah, it's like every part of your process can be very systemized and standardized, and then you can do it the same way every time and find really good candidates.
Nice. One of the things I wanted to drill down into a little bit was job posts. So you talked about that real quick. Job posts, I think, it's the start of your process, and this is like that's your advertisement, right? Like if
Yeah.
you can absolutely compare everything with marketing to customers as marketing to employees. So a job ad is just your your marketing ad for employees, and it's the very first filter. Like recruiting is filtering down the pool that you initially attract into eventually the hire, right? So all through the process, every stage, maybe for some applicants for certain positions, you do a couple of interviews and you're essentially filtering it down, right? So the job ad is going to, the way it reads and the way it presents your company is going to attract the right people and turn away the wrong people if it's done right. So you can imagine if you're a great employee, like a great growth-minded landscape crew leader that is eager to become an ops manager one day or something like that. Imagine what kind of company you're going to choose to work with. Like the labor market's tight, so that individual can basically just research the companies and say, I'm going to work for you, right?
Yeah.
And to attract that kind of individual to your company, think through like what the job ad needs to look like and make you stand out. So, ours talks way more about who we are than what we're looking for specifically. So it says things like about our company events. The pictures in our job ad is like our employees on whitewater rafts on a trip. It's pictures of our team and our swag, with our equipment, kind of like showing things off so that the right applicant sees that and they're like, damn, that team looks pretty cool. Like they look pretty fun to work for. And the wrong people, right? The much less ambitious employee that doesn't really care. They're going to probably work for 3 landscape companies this year anyways. And they're just kind of looking for one that they can hide at and bullshit their way through. They're not going to want to work for you. Like they're going to move on to the next one and not even apply to that job. Right. So those kind of things are really important, and they can make your company really stand out to the right people. So get the job ads right, and don't just copy, like do it differently. Talk way more about who you are and what your team's about, and not a ton about even the job, which sounds really weird, but those are the best job ads I find.
Yeah.
One more thing, like in my experience, like for the smaller companies out there, say that, aren't in there, you're running it out of your garage, maybe, those kind of size businesses where I just remember those days, and I remember feeling like I needed to appear bigger to attract the right candidates. And I was also kind of embarrassed because I had no place to interview them. Like it was like my garage, right? And it's weird to invite people maybe to like your living room. So, and I, don't want to invite random people. So you're interviewing these people probably at McDonald's or something, like some some place with a chair. And I think it's important to be truthful and honest about your company's size, and then you're trying to figure out how to attract the same people that the huge company in your market is trying to attract with a much bigger budget and can maybe even pay them a bit better, right? So you can only attract these people with your story and your vision. And when you're small, you can still attract incredibly good people and incredibly hard workers, based on somebody who wants to kind of like, get in early, work directly with the owner, like sell them on the advantages you have over the big companies where they're not going to be interviewing with the owner, right? They're interviewing with the manager. This way they get to work with Jason. They get to hear about Jason's dreams for his company, who he is. He's got this background in music, cool guy, great haircut, all these things. And they're like excited to work with you. Sell them on the story. Don't bullshit them. Don't, try to make yourself seem like what you don't, because you haven't been around for 25 years like your competitor or whatever. Get them excited about working with you and learning and growing the business with you. And you'd be shocked how great of people you can attract through that strategy. And that's what I wanted to say, because I think a lot of small companies make the same mistake where they try to make some big fancy ad and they use words in the ad like we instead of I, like as if there's this big team. It's like, we take a strong approach to recruiting or something. It's like, it's only me. But so yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Cool. I think I'm going to propose something. I think that we jump right to a speed round for this. How do you feel about that? Cool. All right, you get to go first.
Yeah, I like it. I'll read it. Okay, so speed round. What are the questions?
So I'll read it to you first. What is the best resource or content on this topic?
Oh man.
I know, like I purposely chose my answer to be different from what I feel like you're going to answer, because you always recommend like a really great book for this topic.
I do?
Yeah.
For recruiting?
Well, for hiring and culture and people in general.
Oh yeah, good one. Yeah, Jeffrey Scott, Destination Company. I'm going to double check. It's the slowest speed round ever. Yeah, Jeffrey Scott is a consultant in our industry, and his book is called Destination Company. Become a Destination Company. Yeah, and he talks about building people systems before business systems, which I think is interesting and something people get backwards a lot. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Cool. Very good. The next question is, what is the best advice you've received or biggest win that you've had? Either
one. When we started doing things differently than everybody else, different job ads, talking about our culture and who we are, and also lengthening our recruitment process and holding strong to the process, especially on like supervisors and managers, just taking a ridiculous amount of time to hire somebody and making sure you get it right, and interviewing lots of people.
Yeah.
No shortcuts.
Biggest blunder you've seen or you've made as it relates to recruiting and hiring, or people in general?
Mm.
You haven't made any mistakes. No mistakes ever. Brandon just crushes it.
Lots of like hiring mistakes for sure. That's normal. Yeah, I don't know. Just like, so I would just say it's attaching ego to new hires. So like, I think I got over this. It's hard to say when you're analyzing yourself, but I always try to tell we have managers that do the hiring in the company now, and you'll see someone be excited and hire a new person, and then that person's not working out, but they're the ones that brought them in. So they don't want to admit that they made a mistake maybe, or take action on this person that they just told everybody was so awesome. So that's a huge problem. And I think people should be aware of it, and that it's like, everybody's not going to work out. So
cool. Nice. Good job.
Same question to you. The first one, what was it? I don't have them in front of me.
What is the best resource or content on the topic? So actually, I'm going to name two, because the book I thought you were going to say, that was a good one. I forgot about the Jeffrey Scott one, but I thought you were going to say Who Not How.
That is good.
Yeah, but I'll also add Patrick Lencioni's book, The Ideal Team Player. That's a really good one on the topic. Second question, I'll read to myself. What is the best advice you've received or biggest win you've had? I can think of multiple times, like always the same thing, but the biggest win is just like, actually, this is going to sound weird, but like when we've had people leave the company for whatever reason, because they think like something's bigger or better over here, and then they come back, like they leave on good terms, I should say. Like they leave.
That's fresh. Isn't that a little fresh for you?
No, I mean, it's just like it literally just happened, but it's happened multiple times where like they leave and then they think like, this is like something over here pulls me away. And again, they leave on good terms. They don't just like leave us hanging, or else I would never have them come back. But then they come back and they're like, hey, it's like, I didn't realize how good it was here. That like to me really speaks to what we've built and the culture in the organization, like that mission that we've had. So that's a huge win. You're right. We did just have this happen recently, but like it's happened a few times, and that is, that's like a big win for us.
Right.
And then,
what's the biggest screw up or blunder?
Yep. Yeah. Kind of, again, I can think of multiple instances of this, but always the same. It's again, comes down to like the culture and the people sort of aspect, but it's just holding on too long. Like you kind of said the same thing, where it's like, okay, you made a mistake hiring. Like you thought this person would be great for this reason, and they just like weren't. And it's just like holding on too long. This is one that also is a little fresh for one of my managers, who I won't name on this call, but like he came to me and was like, hey man, I think we're going to have to cut so-and-so. Gave me plenty of reasons. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know why you're coming to me. Like, it sounds like you've got it figured out. Like you should cut him. And he waited too long. And then this employee ended up quitting. And like kind of leaving him like hanging in the middle of like a busy snowstorm. It's like, that's great, but like in my opinion, like that's actually really bad. Like, A, you just got left hanging in the middle of a snowstorm, but B, the optics of that, like you already knew this person was wrong. There's a much different optic, like you were saying, of like when you let someone go because they're clearly not right for the team, the rest of the team is going to like celebrate that, honestly. Like whether they say it or not, they're like, yeah, that's like, dude, thank you, like, you see it too, that was the right move. But when that person walks out, it's like it's a different sort of optic. And that
when you have a leader that is bold and says what needs to be said and does what needs to be done, that makes a great leader. Even if they get it wrong, like once in a while, they still take action, versus somebody that just doesn't, and is a bit softer, I guess. You lose a lot of good people because of that too.
Yeah, totally. And the longer you hang on to those people that aren't right for the organization, the more chance it is that you're going to lose really good people. Like they're just like you said it earlier, the really good ones don't want to hang out, don't want to be around those other ones. So, all right. Well, I think that's it. Any last minute thoughts?
if you're thinking that person's not right, they're probably not. I don't want to get a bunch of people fired today or anything, but just like take action,
Yeah.
just do it. But yeah, maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
There's nothing bigger that I can think of where our company has felt like it evolved, like you could feel it when you either removed the wrong person and it just felt like a weight is lifted off of you, or you brought on a new person that is incredible and takes a weight off you or your team's shoulders. So it's in this business, it's a lot about people, right? Especially if you're a maintenance company. Like we sell labor. That's what we're doing. Not a lot of materials in the revenue there. So having the right people on the bus is in the right seats too is absolutely the most important thing. So
totally. And throwing the ones off the bus that aren't a good fit.
Yeah.
Free up that
Or you can
space.
stop the bus, let them off.
No, just throw them out. Cool. Well, I'm going to ask you to rate your colorful gin here in a minute, but I just realized I hadn't shown you this yet.
Yeah, let's get a zoom on that.
This is first beer garden merch that
this is an exclusive look. I've not even seen this.
Yeah.
I saw the logo, and I like good work on your Photoshop or whatever you did there.
Thanks. I'm learning still. But yeah, it's I printed a few different styles. This one will most definitely.
That looks good. I like how you put it sideways. You look like Justin Timberlake or something.
So, wow. We are elder millennials.
A little bit of an instinct vibe going on.
Yeah, that's so we might have some we're testing a few things now, but we might have some cool things coming here in the future. So
yeah, I want one of those. I got this clapped out issue ID hat. Look how faded that is. That's
this won't
black. This is now getting to a gray.
This will not fit your head. If there's one thing I know about you, it's that you have a big head. And even for me, there's only 2 holes that are clipped here. So like it's not gonna fit your head. But we'll get some hunted. While you tell me about your gin and how you would rate it, I'm gonna show you some of the other styles that we have. So you go ahead. I'll be right back.
Okay. So Burwood Distillery here in Calgary. I would rate this. I'm going to give it a. It's weird because it's kind of it's like some kind of weird flavored. It's like a flavored thing or it's like a festive thing.
Yeah.
So I have to separate it from your normal gins, like your Tanquerays and your Bombays and your Aviations. Those are all gins, right? I must sound like a connoisseur right now. I can't believe I remembered all those.
I don't drink gin, but the impression I got is that you named all of the bottom shelf gins.
No way. Are you fucked? Those are good gins. I'll give it I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10 because of the color changing it does.
Okay. All right.
And the flavor is also decent.
Cool.
Go visit Burwood.
Really quick, got a couple other styles for you here. Got a green one with a yellow cord.
Green better. Green better.
And then we got a trucker hat with the green and black.
Okay, now it looks like you're actually going to go do some work. Got the trucker hat.
Right.
The other ones are like you're going out on a night on the town or something.
That's, might be going to the beer garden. Cool. For me, Shelter Point Distillery, classic single malt, Vancouver Island coastal influence. I would score this. Yeah, I would score this a 9 out of 10. But because it was gifted to me by some of my close friends, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10.
What?
Yeah.
You can't give that a 10 out of 10. Are you sure?
Yeah,
everything else in the future has to rank up against that.
Has to live up to that.
Incredible.
Yep.
This is quite a moment. Bookmark this, everyone.
Yeah.
That bottle's quite empty. When did you start? When did you? Is that just today?
No, I think you and I drank a lot of this while you were here. you brought this, and then we proceeded to drink a lot of it. Yeah.
Did you get that? Did we give you that one from? Where did we get that? In the Dominican? Oh, that was from
the
Hector.
rum. The rum.
Yeah. Did you bring that home?
Yeah, it's sitting in my globe bar here behind me, unopened. It's not going to get open until you guys come here, and because it's yours. So I was just the mule to bring it back to the States.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough high quality content for the viewers today. Why don't we shut her down?
Yep. Yeah. Why don't the ask would be to give us a comment to let us know what you're drinking. I'd love to see more activity in the comments there. Believe it or not, Brandon and I read every single one of those. So like us or hate us, comment in that section, and we might just engage with you. And let us know what you were drinking. Let us know what you thought of the episode. And appreciate you listening. Thanks for tuning in to the Beer Garden. Cheers.
Cheers.